Bob's minutes as usual. Excellent.
Yes.
Now, Abby, have you been successful in engaging Khuda Bux,
Yeah.
the great Pakistani mystic?
He liked you so much, he's doing it for free.
Huh?
He was so impressed with you, he watched you on video, he's doing it for
Yes,
free.
good luck with that. He's been dead 10 years.
That's why it's free.
That's why that's free.
All right. Everybody have a chance to look over the minutes?
Yes, read them online also.
Any correction to the minutes? Yes, Dr. H.
Just one question. The last vote at the last meeting is not listed the last vote at the last meeting is not listed in the minutes as I see it.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is?
Yes, it is.
Where?
Did you look at both sides of the page?
It's on the second page.
New business, gym source and guest pool?
No.
You're looking at the minutes for today.
Gotta look at Bob's minutes,
April.
which should be attached to that
Hold
agenda.
on,
It's all the way in the
Mark.
back.
Correction, I said corrected.
Okay, you got it? All right.
That was last month.
And America.
Okay, well, I would say,
What?
okay, all right, here we go. So where it says, any resident cited for violation of pool rules will receive the following: a documented verbal warning, no, a written warning, no. What we put out at the pools, which I brought prior to,
Can I correct
yes,
on that?
please.
That is what I had brought forth as a motion, which
You need to get a mic, please.
That's one.
Well,
Okay. That was the motion that I had submitted, which
Okay.
did not go through,
Okay, all
but
right.
it's in the minutes.
All right. All right, then the minutes will be accepted as noted.
Synagogue is spelled wrong.
Yes, Patricia?
Synagogue is spelled wrong.
Oh.
Look on the other one that I gave you, it's spelled correct.
All right, moving right along to Miss Monica. Dozon.
Before I go, we will let Dan go first if we could, because we have an engineer here and we didn't want to hold him up.
Oh, okay, the high price spread. We have the real thing this month. All right, Dan.
Just because we had some questions that were asked of last month's meeting, okay, in referencing to some of the studies
AC?
of the AC.
Have we gotten that study yet?
Yeah, well, you have the study, who's going to explain,
I don't
and
know, we have a study that's a couple of years old. We just put out $400,000 line item
for the bid.
for drawings.
Bid drawings, yes.
Yeah.
And that's where he's going to explain where we're at right now.
Okay.
And I'll let him explain any other questions that you might have last week that he could explain, because they are the ones that wrote up this study.
Can't we just put a few tons of ice out in the lobby and put a fan on it?
Dry
Yeah,
ice.
a few tons.
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
It's Kevin.
Kevin.
So the study was done in 2018.
Can you tell us who you are for the record?
Yes, I'm Kevin Gomez from the HVAC engineering firm JLRD Engineers.
All right.
The previous person who did this study and conducted this study, he's now in our Merritt Island office, so I'm representing him here today. He couldn't be here. So in 2018, JLRD was hired to do a study of the equipment condition and its life expectancy. So what that meant was we came in and we looked at only HVAC equipment. We didn't look at anything else or consider anything else except that. So in this report that was done in 2018 was the condition of the equipment was assessed, the life expectancy that was left, and what JLRD recommended be replaced now, be replaced later, and we even broke it up into phases so that costs can be considered when approaching this work. Well, come to find out, 4 years down the road, costs are starting to increase. Permitting costs are starting to increase. Review times at the boards and the permitting authorities' time is increasing. The only thing on our side is that we know what we need to do now. So what we've done is Dan has hired our firm to not only just do this study, but now we're presenting contract documents and project specifications and commissioning procedures that will allow your systems to function like they were supposed to. Now, in this report, we experienced a couple of issues with how it's controlled, not necessarily how it's maintained. We found that the equipment is being maintained at its optimum. But due to age and deterioration, we can't stop that. So all we can do is maintain up to a certain degree before things just fall apart because of corrosion. So in that report has this, whether it was issues that had to do with humidity, issues that had to do with things being out of balance, out of control. This project that you're paying for now enables that to function to the best of its ability. So not only did we just put out some drawings and say, here, hire a contractor to fix your problems. No. We wrote project specifications, which is another book that goes with your drawings, about 200-page document that the contractor is also held liable to make sure that parts and pieces are not compromised, whether it's a certain metal component that's in the unit, it's not going to corrode in 5 years and then you're out of luck because it's broken now and I thought I paid a premium and I thought you were going to hold a contractor to it. That's what our project specifications do for you. And once the system is installed and it's operating, JLRD will come back out again and test all of the bells and whistles that they say they installed, the contractor here. So what we'll do is we'll turn things on, turn things off, turn the heat on, turn the heat off. Do the sensors react when I make the thermostat hot? Does this change? Does that change? If smoke were to be detected inside the building, does the actual fan shut down? All these types of tests and procedures will be performed by JLRD. Not only to protect our interests, but protect you, Century Village. So right now, I can say that we've been coordinating back and forth between myself, the architect, and the electrical engineers to make sure all the power requirements are met. The building is sealed up so you don't have any more of those issues coming from the attic and other things like that we've been coordinating with our manufacturers to make sure you get the best piece of equipment possible. Our permit-ready drawings should be done, I told Dan, around May 11th. That we're going to deliver a set of drawings that are signed and sealed, and you can take that to a contractor and have the project executed. So give us a couple more weeks, and we'll have everything ready for you. Any questions?
Yeah.
Yes.
We initially started.
Into the mic.
We initially.
Talk into the mic.
I am talking into the
No,
mic.
we can't hear you.
We initially started with a $2.5 million price tag on this and heard that it's gone up to $5 million. And what is your assessment of what it's going to be costing?
Between 2.5 to 5 doesn't sound like it's out of the norm. I would say 5 is the highest for the type of work that we're going to perform. I would say that we would probably, I would have Dan forward to me any bids he got from the contractors. And JLRD can break that down because a lot of times we get a lot of fluff. Oh, we're going to add $200,000 for controls. Oh, we're just going to add this and we think we don't. No. This is why we're going through such a level of detail with this study. We're doing such a level of detail with our design documents and the specifications that the contractor can't come back and say, well, we put a line item for $200K and it ended up being $500. The only things that we cannot guarantee are the prices of equipment and the prices of material because they are starting to change in the market almost from month to month now. Price of copper is starting to go up. The price of steel is starting to go up. The manufacturers that are creating variable frequency drives that control how fast and how slow the fans go up and down, well, those microchips are processed in China, and right now there's so much backlog that you can't order the variable frequency drives. So now it's either project delay or you find another solution to solve your issues. So I think the only things that are going to be items that we can't hunker down on until we get a commitment from the contractor on ordering and locking in rates is material. Labor is set. It's the material and the makes of whatever is going to be inside the air handlers that's going to cause us the issues, like copper and steel and things like that. But I'd say that the five mil is a solid number. I don't see it going over that.
Hallelujah.
Barbara.
I just want to clarify something with you. At the subcommittee, you were here, Dan, remember? Ed was here, we were the only two. And they told us minimum 4.5 roughly to 5, because that's roughly where we're looking at in the ballpark, to be realistic. 2.5 is gone, that's gone long ago.
That's 4 years ago, yeah,
Yeah,
2018,
so,
right.
so what I'm saying is we are looking at 4 million to 5 million, to be fair to you. Am I right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Is it possible for your firm to determine which, if any, parts of your bill or expenses are maintenance as opposed to capital improvements?
Right.
Or don't you get into that distinction at all?
Yeah, they do.
From what I was directed when we did the study asked for the condition of all the equipment. So yes, that could fall under maintenance.
Sure.
Because that's just, we go look in the air handler, we say, hey, I think in about 2 years you're gonna need to replace this. Okay, well, why don't we do it now, because I'm replacing 4 other ones, and if I can get this in a package, might as well. So those things like that were suggested in this study. Now, the only thing that's outside of that is probably some of the renovations where we're trying to group some of these offices, take a large conference room or a large meeting space, and we split it up into maintenance offices, things like that. That's not part of maintenance. Those are wish list items that were added to the project scope, especially from an architectural standpoint. And all I've done is adjusted the HVAC so that it can meet the needs of that space. Yes.
How much of your engineering study is actually replacement of old equipment or actually re-engineering the entire air conditioning system for the building?
Okay. For the re-engineering of the HVAC system, we are not re-engineering it. It's sufficient, it's top-notch. We replaced the cooling towers. JLRD did that project a few years before this study was performed, and we found that your chillers were operating at their optimum at that time. The pumps were operating at their optimum at that time. So we didn't see a need to address the heart of your system through this study. It was a lot of the outlier equipment, such as your air handlers here in the spaces. Those were the maintenance items that we suggested be replaced in this project. Your chillers and your cooling towers are still good. We don't see any issues with those.
But you just said you had to re-engineer the walls. Walls had to be put up. So how are you not restructuring something that's inefficient or not properly installed to begin with?
Okay, so what we did was we did an HVAC load analysis that was very preliminary when we did this study. So we knew that an air handler could work for this space. Let's take this room for an example. So I know that I've got plenty of air for this space. Well, you come back and you say, well, I want to put a wall right in the middle of this one. That side of the wall, I want 4 offices. So what we did is we took a load analysis when Dan said, hey, I think we should do something with these spaces. Can your air handler, or my air handler, I'm sorry, handle that load? Okay, Dan, I'm gonna have to pause right now. Let me go back and do a load analysis, find out you have enough ventilation, you've got enough cooling load. Matter of fact, your air handler was big enough to begin with. So we're okay, we're fine. So we didn't adjust any of the HVAC systems to increase the capacity of the system. The system that you have here is sufficient enough.
So
That's what we've done.
What you're saying is it wasn't your company's suggestion that walls be put up
Oh,
and
no,
separated.
no, that was brought on by,
This was something that
You're right.
the structure of the building, in order to make it more efficient, would have to be, it was presented to you, we could make it more efficient by narrowing the spaces. That's what you're saying. Not what your recommendation is, but that's what you were asked to do. Reconfigure the space. That's what you just said.
Yes, architect was asked to do that.
Okay, thank
Yes.
you.
Uh-huh.
Ed?
Good afternoon, everybody. I just want to, if you would repeat, it sounded to me that you said that most of what you're doing is maintenance, not capital improvements. It's just a few minutes ago when you answered. In other words, if we're looking at $4.5 million, and we haven't fixed that, I think the question was asked, and I don't know if it's in your bailiwick, do you consider this maintenance or capital improvement? And I thought you said capital improvement.
No.
Maintenance.
Yes, and it gets to, it depends on how you want to skin the cat. Most of the times, like for a lot of our county work, we'll tell you, there's a capital improvements division. So they oversee maintenance and other improvements rather than just maintenance. So under that umbrella, you could say, oh yes, it's an improvement because it was old and I replaced it. So I improved the system. Well, the system still operates the way it was intended to operate. So from an engineering perspective, all I did was taking something out, put something in, but it's just newer, it lasts longer. So when we go to code officials and we say, hey, I need a permit to go install this equipment. So what are you doing to the building? Is it increasing in performance? No, it's the same performance, it's just a newer car, but it's the same horsepower. I haven't done anything different to improve. All I've done was make it look good, it operates well, it controls well, it's more efficient now because it's a newer make and model, that aspect. But capital improvements kind of covers any things that you want to do that are like wish list items, that would, like, say for example, if you wanted to knock down a wall and add another 2-story building, does that still fall under capital improvements? Well, yes, it takes capital dollars to do the improvement, but also there may have been some maintenance items under the umbrella of that project that enabled us to do the capital improvements.
Thank you for your answer.
Bob?
Yeah, you said basically you're replacing it with the same thing. But the key word is replacing. If you are replacing something, that's a capital improvement.
Okay.
Because you're taking out the old
And going back
putting
to
in new.
Yes, capital improvement.
So that is
Yes.
a capital improvement.
Now, when you renovate walls and you add walls to the spaces,
That's
do
also
you still,
an
okay,
improvement.
then yes, this project is capital improvement by your definition.
So
Yeah.
that's what I'm doing.
Barbara?
Yeah, I just want to clarify what Bob just said, is that before you said optimal maintenance. So we maintain this
To the
best
best of
we
your
can
ability, yes.
to the life expectancy of it.
Mhm.
Now it has to be replaced, which like anything, it does, in order to run properly. Am I correct?
Yes.
That's all I want to know. Thank you.
Donald?
Is it me or are we asking legal questions of an engineer?
No.
No, it's not legal.
No, we're used to this. We're used to this. The owners ask us this all the time because they have to face the legal authorities, they have to face the permitting authorities with how they allocate funds, how they get projects, blessed by certain governmental authorities. We're used to it. That's why I said it kind of is how you want to skin the cat. Do you define it as capital improvements? Is this, where does the budget come from? I deal with a lot with this at the airport. Does it affect passengers or does it affect the airlines? Who's going to benefit the most?
All right, we are
I believe I-
to expect blue lines by when did you say?
I'd say by May 11th, I can have your permit set.
All right, thank you. Stuart?
Just a basic question. With what you're doing and what you project to do, have the guidelines or standards for the work that you're doing, have the government interjected their standards to force you to do certain things, or basically you're doing what you feel has to be done to make it work right? Because I'm not quite sure if there's an outside influence involved here that's making you do something based on new standards of operation, and that would force us on our end to pay more to meet those standards.
Yes, because the Florida Building Code dictates a lot of how we approach system installation. For example, a lot of what JLRD does just as an engineering firm far exceeds the Florida Building Code because we understand our clients' needs and their future way that they're going to run their buildings and operate their buildings. So for example, when we did this project, I asked Dan, how do you use the buildings? Are you using this in seasons? Okay, then I need to approach my HVAC from that perspective. If you have party rooms in here and there's only 4 people in this corner playing cards, then I need to figure out a way to get the HVAC to adjust here and not make it freezing over there and then it's warm over here. Some of the problems you're experiencing now. A lot of this is being done by the Florida Building Code. There's also another energy efficiency code now that the Florida Building Code allows us to operate underneath. For example, on your theater, you've got some unique units on the roof of that theater. Well, come to find out, I go through and look at the Florida Building Code because I wanted to exercise the exception, because with exceptions come savings. If I can exercise that exception and still meet the code. Well, come to find out, in the new Florida Building Code, if you've got so much air coming in the building and you're just cooling all that air, you've got to find a way to take it out of the building. And the efficient way to do it is how these units were installed on this roof in the first place. It's just that they were not under control and they weren't balanced. So this project that I am doing is now enabling that so that you can see that savings. So there's another process we call value engineering, where a contractor may propose an alternate method that may save you, the owner, funds. But JLRD may object to that because we understand life expectancy of a unit. The contractor comes in and leaves. His warranty only lasts 1 year. Florida statutes say our engineering services are last up to 5 to 7 years after the project is done. So we've got more vested interest in this project being complete, under control, and commissioned so that we warranty those items when the project is complete. We're here to stay. Contractors come and go. But we're here tied at the hip with you for a while. You know, so.
Dan, I'm sitting here. I could put on a parka and be comfortable. Building is freezing. Well, you heard what he said. We're playing cards over here, not over there.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And this is what some of this project is enabling. Yeah, so you get better comfort and control in one large area.
There's an old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Now, beyond the study stage, where are we going with this?
That's exactly.
You know, $5 million is a lot of money for unit owners to pay for somebody else's property. So, where are we going with this? It seems to be working, right?
And that's.
Am I missing something?
Seems.
Huh?
It seems to be.
It's relative. That's a very relative term because what I found, even coming to this building for the last year and a half and working with Dan through this, I've felt differently through the seasons of coming here for a year.
All right.
I've walked through the party room, I've experienced the warmth. I've gone upstairs and experienced the freezing cold over here. The admin there, it just depends. Is it gonna rain today? Then the units, you know, if they're out of control and the sensor is broken and the control valve that allows the water to flow through the unit stays wide open all night, you'll come in here and it feels freezing. You wanna slap somebody, it's so cold. Why does it have to be so cold? Well, because there's a maintenance issue. We're gonna get it fixed tomorrow. I come back here in a week and I feel comfortable. So it's very, very relative, and
we await the tech drawings with great anticipation.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Ed.
I just want to comment, I don't have it in front of me, and you're an engineer, I'm a CPA. I would say that if I went by the Internal Revenue Code, your explanation of maintenance really doesn't fit, because anything that extends the life, I haven't got all the criteria in front of me. And it's a lot of money. I understand you're giving us your expertise as an engineer, but I would question the total concept that only when I move a wall does that become a capital improvement. I just want to put that on for the record.
Anything else?
That it? Questions wise?
That's the story. Got any more questions?
All right, back.
Can I assume that the problems we're having with the AC now are more of a nuisance rather than an absolute necessity? Can I make that assumption? In other words, the AC is working, not 100% because cold, hot differences in temperature, different rooms. That's one thing. Does it need to be done at this time? Is there a time limit that we have to have it done because of absolute necessity rather than taking it as making it comfortable?
In our 2018 study, we evaluated and phase the construction with that approach. Let's evaluate what needs to be done right now because this is way out of control. Party room was the first thing on our list. It probably was the only thing in phase one, was get that room under control. Necessity, right? Then we started dwindling this thing down to, well, not so necessary. You may be able to hold 2 years. Can't promise you anything, but you've got about 2 years left in that air handler. Let's see, if you guys maintain this thing well and you top notch, you can get 3 more years out of it. We can't guarantee it, but we'll categorize this based on our engineering expertise on equipment failures and all this kind of stuff. It was broken down that way, but then once we started looking at costs for phase construction in today's market, you might as well just done it all at once, because by the time you look at this bill 4 years from now and you said, I've spread out all of this, I could have done this all at once if I would have shut down this building or figured out a way to do half and half. You know, because of this COVID, it provided an opportunity to exercise that ability to get this done all at once, rather than start something, stop. Now you got to pay a contract to mobilize again. Start something, stop. Send drawings over to the permitting authorities. Pay for a second permit when you already have one. It's just, it was starting to look more realistic the closer we got to our 2021 than it did in 2018 to get this all done at once.
I think it's been our experience over time that to patch and patch and patch and patch invariably costs you more money. Because you never quite get it done. We've gone through this on a number of major projects in this village. Patching, patching, patching. And suddenly you don't even see the numbers. They're endless. All right. Yes, Olga.
David, the object of my question is really to find out whether we could do this after we settle the Millennium Agreement argument.
Yeah, okay.
That's my intention and my purpose.
Understand. Bob?
Part of the answer to what Olga's asking, I think, has to do with the humidity factor in the building. That's been a big issue. A lot of the humidity in there, and that's why you have all the wood fires, and the carpet's being wet, and we don't want that dirty M-word coming out. So that was a necessity, I think, as far as the party room goes.
Yeah.
It's all about money.
We got anything else?
No?
We spent a half hour on air conditioning. Yes, go ahead, John.
Dan, is it true that we got another showing that's about to go on?
Oh, Jesus.
Well, let's just finish this portion right here, and we'll go to that.
Right,
It's in my thing, but let's not go into another.
Yeah, let him finish.
Let him finish, because
It's a good question.
no, I'll bring it up. It's in here to bring up.
It's next on the agenda.
Yes.
All right. Monica, you had a question?
Sort of. Is it fair to say then, Kevin, that the drawings that you are working on now and will be completing soon, that is for the repair or replacement, whatever it is you're recommending for the entire clubhouse? And that it's not, those plans do not anticipate phases or anything like that. It's the full set of drawings
Yes.
for everything that you've recommended, right?
Yes, everything we recommended have been directed to replace. Now, there are a couple of air handlers in here that have been recently replaced. I'm not going to touch that. They're 5 years old. Let it stay. Like you said, I'm not going to fix something that ain't broken. So we recommended that anything that's less than, let's say, 7 or 8 years. I look at it, scratch my fingernail on it. I don't see anything wrong with this. Look at the coil. Nothing's rusted. It's been maintained well. Kevin's been replacing filters like it's nobody's business. Great. Keep it. We've done our HVAC load calculations. We find out you're still using those music rooms, those computer rooms, and you plan on doing that the same way for the next 2 to 5 years, then I'm not touching it. You don't need to. All we'll probably do is just clean things up, make it look nice, put some paint on the floors, and redress it. But it's okay. It's okay.
I have one more question.
Yes.
Approximately, how much of the ductwork is going to be replaced on your study?
The
feet.
ductwork that's, okay, so for example, like this room, we're replacing all of this.
The whole building, and in the building, 60%?
I probably would say
70%?
a little less than 50 of this entire building is being replaced.
Okay.
Less than 50.
Thank you.
Can we move along? or-
Let's move along.
All right.
Thank you for your time.
Very much.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Kevin. Now, Miss Monica.
Sorry. Good afternoon, everybody. Today, we're looking at your statement of operations for the 4 months ended February 28th. For the month, we had $339,000 in revenue. Our expenses totaled $302,000, so we have a profit of $37,000. For the 4 months, your total revenue is $1.5 million. Your total expenses, $1,482,000, so we have a profit of $34,000. Our budgeted loss for that period was $59,000, so we have a positive variance of $93,000. You'll see down the right side of your expenses, most of the expenses there are under budget. We're $282,000 under budget collectively on the expense side. Any questions? Okay, at the very bottom is our social activity. There's really not a lot to talk about there since we're not having theater or dances, only movies. And we have spent for the 4 months just shy of $6,000. I'm sorry, just shy of $5,000 for the movies, and we had budgeted almost $6,000. So we have a positive variance of $1,000 for the movies at this point. If there are no questions, your next report is your cash balances. As of February 28th, our total operating funds, $1,295,000. Our windstorm deductible reserves total $826,000. And our contingency and infrastructure improvement reserves, $2,094,000. Total reserved funds, $2,920,000 for total available cash of $4.2 million.
You could fix the air conditioner with that.
All right. Your next report is your estoppel income report. March was another great month. This is through the end of March. There were 81 units sold in this community in March. So for the 5 months ended March, there's been 371 units sold. The same period in the prior year, there were 262 units. That's a 109 unit increase, or a 42% increase in the number of sales, and an actual 58% increase in the revenue that we've collected. Any questions? Yes, Stuart?
How does that compare to the other Century Villages?
You guys are off the charts when it compares to the other Century Villages. They are not experiencing this kind of increase in sales at the level that you are. In fact, Boca is pretty much the same this year as they were the same period in the prior year. And Pembroke Pines is up slightly, but nothing like what we're seeing in West Palm Beach.
Can this not be explained by unit price difference?
I would think so.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the price of your units is going up. I can share with you that in the past month and a half, we have had 2 WPRF foreclosures. Both of the units were part of our asset recovery program. Both units, we were not the successful bidder at the foreclosure sale. We were outbid. In both occasions by the same person who's currently already an owner in Century Village. And there were some pretty decent prices paid for those units though. So Even though the association will not be getting much money from the asset recovery program because we only get our judgment and we don't have the opportunity to get title to the property and sell the property and share that with the association, at least the association can go make a claim against the surplus, which is the difference between WPRF summary judgment and what this individual paid for those units. I've had the same thing in Boca too. I've had 2 foreclosures in Boca this year, and picked one of them, somebody bid $70-something thousand.
Are these corporations?
Yeah. No, not corporations. I don't know who asked that. Oh,
Right.
no, it was an individual.
All right. John?
I say a lot of our sales is from the northern part of West Palm Beach, where they're paying pennies on the dollar for the houses because they're gonna bulldoze that whole area and make it condos. And Riviera Beach, they're paying like $40,000 to $50,000 for 1- and 2-bedroom houses. The city of Riviera Beach. And where are you gonna go with $50,000?
Century Village?
You got anything else for us, Ms. Monica?
I think I have a couple of very minor things on the agenda.
Master insurance.
Oh, master insurance policy. It's getting close to that time of year again.
Tony? No? Okay.
No, Tony's not here, unfortunately. Last year we had 3 agencies come in and do a presentation to all 3 Century Villages. All 3 communities chose Assured Partners, and they did the insurance. We've been very happy with them this year. They've probably done a lot more and serviced our account much better than we've been serviced in a lot of years. They've sent their risk control person from Ohio down here several times. I believe he's been here 3 times looking at our properties and making recommendations. But the current policies expire August 1st. So we need to decide if you want me to bring in other agents to have them do a presentation like we did last year. You all know that the markets are very limited in Florida, and it doesn't make any sense to have more than 2 agents at the most to bid the insurance because they're stepping all over one another.
Rather than us making a decision, can you run this by Tony?
Certainly.
Yeah, okay.
Right, I'll be glad to.
Barbara?
Because you did the insurance last year, and we just did our insurance for Yuko and the village in January. It was a very big increase this year for us, which you did not see last year.
We did see a big increase last year in the umbrella.
Yeah,
And
but
that's happening everywhere in the country, and that may be what the association saw was a big increase in your umbrella. And that's not gone away because of the litigious nature, and there's so many lawsuits going on. Many companies are maxing out on their general liability policies. And the umbrella policies have to drop down on top of that, and they're like, whoa, wait a minute. This was never the intention of an umbrella policy to drop down over day-to-day general liability claims. So because of that, the umbrella carriers are, really putting their premiums.
this is what I'm saying, because we almost tripled for much, much less than what we got before, if you know what I mean. So I presume that we have to think about the WPF policy as being increased more this year too.
Mhm.
Am I correct?
I don't know, but the answer to that, I would assume that more than likely there will be an increase.
That's what
but
I'm
how
saying,
much,
Monica,
I
right.
don't know, right, because
Okay.
all of the premiums are increased. It's cyclical like anything else. There for several years, we were seeing some decreases
And now
in
they're going up,
premiums,
yeah.
and now we're on the uphill slope
know.
again, unfortunately.
Thank you.
I'd like to get some input from Tony on this. And obviously, what's our timeline here?
We probably need to decide within the next month what we're gonna do.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Tony
Okay.
was in today, I don't know Why she wasn't here. All right.
All right. The one last thing on the agenda for me is our PPP loan update. Lucky me. Our loan got chosen to be audited by the SBA. The people that I work with at Bank of America tell me that we're the only customer that they know of that they have that's being audited. Yeah, so I've spent several weeks gathering and putting together an awful lot of information. When you file your forgiveness application, there's this whole laundry list of things they say, we don't want, you do not have to provide, but you need to have it available in case you get audited. Well, that in case came for me. And so I had to gather all this information, you know, even having to supply things like the emergency orders from Palm Beach and Broward County, CDC information, anything and everything saying why we shut down, you know, all this kind of information, but it's all been uploaded to Bank of America, and they assure me that they will get it to the SBA, and they have 90 days to review it. I don't see any reason why in the world they would deny our forgiveness, because I've supplied everything they've asked for, and we spent the money exactly the way they intended for the money to be spent, which was payroll. So
The reason they would deny it is because you're just lucky.
I guess so.
Barbara,
Monica, is that just this Century Village or all of them?
It's all of them.
That's what I just wanted to
Yeah.
clarify.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Monica, thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. We gonna go over HVAC again, Dan?
No, we just brought that up with Kevin there.
Oh, okay.
Good.
Fire alarm?
Well, the only thing on the HVAC is to answer the question that, which is the next one, which is the chiller. It was actually / fire alarm chiller.
Oh, John's question.
John's question on the compressor. Last month I reported that they were doing an oil analysis test, okay? We still haven't gotten that back 100%. We are running on 3 of the, every chiller has 2 compressors. We're running on 50% on one of the chillers. Okay?
Wow. Okay.
Just off the head, what's the price of the chillers for this building?
What is the
Ballpark figure, what's the price of the chillers for this building?
I can't,
175, 250?
I can't tell you that, John. The prices of things have gone up so
Yeah.
much that I can't even give you an accurate. I'd be really, just guessing.
Wow.
Things have changed so much drastically in the last 2 years. Okay. On the fire alarm, we had discussed this with Siemens, and that I had told you last time that I would investigate on a non-proprietary system. Okay. It's unbelievable what I've gone so far, and I got another contractor coming in. But for going to a non-proprietary system, the cost that I got from this particular vendor that we use down in Pembroke Pines, the reason I didn't do the one in Boca Raton, because that's Johnson Controls, also a proprietary system. Utilizing a lot of the equipment and the plans that we got here, because it was done in 2006, 2007, okay? The price that I got back from this to redo this was $27,067. Now, you take that on, we just spent $16,000 on a repair for a board, and they want 11. I just talked them down to 8,000 on some of these sensors. It's something to think about. I'm going to get another price from Advance and just come back to you and see what we might want to do here. Because it's not worth putting any more money into the Siemens if this is the case, that we could actually transfer this over to a non-proprietary system that anybody could work on, and the cost of any repairs would be a lot less. And especially too, if you're going forward with the air conditioning, that when we hook up and disconnect, it would be a lot cheaper than bringing Siemens and trying to do something like that. Because that cost will be also put into this bill, okay, that you're talking about, when they go out for bid. Any questions on that portion? Okay. The Hastings exterior painting is going smoothly. I'd say they're more than halfway right now. If you take a look at it, it looks beautiful out there. Okay, they've patched up and they're doing an excellent job. What I've seen so far. So if you want to take a look at it, the colors are nice. It's very bright. It looks like a really beautiful building out there. That's what they think. So So they got probably another 40-something% to go, the front of it and one of the sides. Okay. Also the drainage that we were talking about, the gutters that's been replaced, but the drainage is still being worked on. It should be done also sometime by the end of next week, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Over at the tennis courts, we had a meeting with the tennis club and some of your board members. We did take those benches out that we agreed on. There were a little complaints of how we put the benches out there. With a little help with your board members, Don and Dave, we went out there and tried to settle it out and made some decisions there to remove some benches that they didn't want and put the benches the way they wanted. So it caused a big hassle, unbelievable, just trying to put two benches back to back. But Dave came with some suggestions that we're going to put for budget reasons down the road. And but right now they're calm and everybody's okay. If I'm not mistaken on that.
Yeah.
That's good.
Quiet it down.
So I think that's my part, unless there's any other questions on anything else.
Oh, Abby, you're up.
Okay.
What do you got here?
I have a lot of interesting things.
Oh, okay.
At the approval meeting that we had in March, I did not discuss repertory because I had forgotten to bring the history of the attendance. But there was a rumor flying around that you all wanted to consider canceling repertory. Just so you know, repertory is not a line item that I'm responsible for. I strictly program it. Financially, I don't handle it at all, so I can't even tell you what the costs are. But I can tell you that in 2017, we brought in $3,800, in 2018, $3,600, 2019, $3,300, and 2020, $3,125. I don't know the nature of the community. I don't know how many people are participating. Again, I'm just the programmer right here. But because of the brochure, I do need an answer as to whether or not you want to continue it or disband. Maybe Eva can add to.
It was taken out of the budget for
Right, thank you.
2021.
It was, but that's because we knew we weren't going to have it. So should I
So we're not
assume
gonna
that
have
you do
it.
not?
Right.
Fine.
It was removed from the budget.
But you would be, you're asking about next year.
I'm asking for 22.
Asking about
Oh,
following
22.
year.
I'm talking about, I'm
Right.
getting ready to do the 21-22 season.
Was this taken out due to COVID?
Well, I think it was taken out because you knew it wasn't going to happen.
Okay.
We had the issues that we're spending over $20,000 a year or more, and the participation.
This is JM's program?
Yes.
All right, understood.
It's like paying $17,000 a year and draw it to the street. Is that a good management decision or not a good management?
Well, just to provide a little bit of history, before I got here, I think the cost was somewhere around $32,000.
That's right.
It was cut in half down to 16, and when we hired JM full-time, it dropped down to 12.
But it's still, but if we still pay JM, which is part of the salary for the show, so it's still 17 grand.
So we took the residents
Bottom line. I mean,
Listen, I'm just providing a little bit of history, because Fausto floated a figure of 20. I wanted to be a little bit more accurate than
I'm
that.
sorry for the inaccurate number.
That's okay.
Getting old.
We all are.
Join the club.
We're all getting old.
But $14,000 to $15,000 a year, we're throwing in the street. Bottom line, do we want to waste $15,000 for, let's say, 10 years? We wasted $160,000. Am I right or wrong?
I am not defending it. I'm just giving you figures. What you
I know,
decide to
I know,
do is
I
up
know.
to you.
Well,
It's not me defending it. It's just the direct.
I think it's a bad managerial decision to fund something that doesn't break even. No problem.
Well, I gotcha. Approximately how many of these wannabe thespians are involved in this program?
I couldn't tell you the answer, just the programmer.
100, 200?
Like 25 or 30.
I'd say anywhere between 25 and 35. And after COVID, I couldn't even guarantee anything.
For $20,000.
I'm worth it, right?
17.
Fausto,
I'm going to make it easy. I'm going to make a motion that we take the repertory out of the 2022 budget.
I second that.
There we go. Now you can discuss.
Okay.
Can I just add to that, that
Yeah.
doesn't mean you ever can't put it back.
We know that.
Right, that's That's just for 22 you're talking
Yeah,
about.
well, we already took out
All
21.
right,
now we're
we've
taking-
got a motion, we've got a second. Is there any further discussion?
Call the vote.
Wait a minute. David?
Sorry.
I want to say, I'm already
I don't think it's always fair to say, I'm not going to debate about 2022. But I don't think we can always say, we're throwing this into the river.
No,
Well, we spend a lot more money on the sailing club, which benefits less people than what we do on the repertory theater. So you have to be fair to all different sides on this. You just can't make a statement, this thing shouldn't be here because we're wasting money. You could say that about the sailing club, which costs us almost twice as much money as that. And what is the amount of people that actually use the sailing club?
We're saying it's just for next year, maybe 2023, we
I
might
know,
bring it
John,
back.
but you said the statement that you're just throwing it into the creek.
No, I'm not saying that, I'm saying
I
next year.
said, I'm not arguing about next year, but I'm saying we have to be careful about saying we're just wasting money because you can give that to everything that we do around here.
I don't always agree with Fausto, but I agree with him on this, that next year,
Next year,
you know?
All right, we're talking about 1 year here.
Yeah,
right.
And obviously,
That's all 1 year.
if there's a hue and cry, we can bring it back.
that's right.
We got anything else in discussion here?
Take a vote.
Take a vote.
Call the vote.
All right, Bob, would you like to call the vote?
Dun, 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 dun. Okay, to remove repertory out of the 22 budget. 21, 22?
Yeah,
21, 22.
We would start in November.
Okay, Barbara Cornish.
Say it, I'm sorry. To remove it
To
for
remove
22.
repertory out of the 21, 22 budget.
Just for the year, Barbara.
Just for the year, I agree. Yes, yes.
Ruth Dries. John Gray. Tony Zaki. Richard Handelsman.
Yes.
Joyce Reese.
Yes.
Maureen DeViguera.
Come back. Come back, make a decision.
Make a decision.
Please.
Patricia Caputo.
Yes.
Olga Wolkenstein.
Yes.
Maureen DeViguera.
Yes. No, have to think on it. Good thinking.
David Israel.
Yes.
Ed Grossman.
Yes.
Dominic Donasian.
Yes.
Stuart
Yes.
Wilson. Fausto Fabro.
Yes.
David Boaz.
Yes.
Just to be different, I'm gonna say no.
That's usually David's job.
No, I'm just kidding. I said no.
That it?
That's it.
All right.
Move on.
It's unanimous.
Line item gone. Okay. Go ahead, Abby.
I also did not discuss at my meeting the buy four, get one free because we were in the process of transferring all of our information from Vendini to our new ticket system, Audience View, and I didn't have access to get that information. But if you recall, in the summer of 2019,
Right.
that was the last time. In the summer of 19, I believe we did it for 2 years. Did we do it for 1 or 2 years? 2 years. So I was able to get the history from 2019. If you purchased 4 tickets in the same month, April through October, you got one free. So we had 352 patrons participate in that. So basically, we gave away 352 free tickets, if you will, for lack of, yes.
I have a question. Were those residents of Century Village or the people from outside?
Yes, they were residents.
Residents.
Correct. So the question for you again is that something you want to continue for the summer of 22?
I think,
All right,
No, it
Barbara.
would be the summer.
I think we should, I'll make a motion to continue, buy 4, get 1 free for this summer.
No, for the summer
I
of
mean,
22.
22, 22.
I seconded it.
I thought it was buy 3, get 1 free.
No.
It's by, It's buy 3, get 1 free. It's
2022.
buy 3, get 1 free.
2022.
Don't try and get.
No, I said it wrong.
This says buy 4, get 1 free.
I said it, I wrote it wrong, I was reading.
Buy 3, get 1 free.
It's buy 3, get 1 free. It must be in the same month, and if there are 5 Saturdays in that month, you don't get an extra ticket.
I make the
Gotcha.
motion, Bob.
Make the motion again.
Yeah, to continue in 22 for the summer, to buy 3, get 1 free.
Okay. Discussion on this?
I don't think there's no discussion.
Okay. Yes, Colonel. Get right on it. All right, why don't you call it, Bob?
All right, continue buy 3, get 1 free for summer 21. 22, I'm sorry. 22. All right, and this would be for tickets, right?
Show tickets.
Show. Barbara, you made the motion, who seconded it? Joyce, second. Barbara Cornish,
Yes.
Ruth Dries,
Yes.
John Gray,
Oh, heck yes.
Richard Hensman,
Yes.
Joyce Reese,
Yes.
Maureen DeBegar,
Yes.
Tricia Pluto,
Yes.
Olga Wolfenstein,
Yes.
David Isher,
Yes.
Ed Grossman,
Yes.
Dominic Barnett,
Yes.
Yes.
Stuart Richland.
He said yes.
He's cheating now. He's cheating.
He's ahead of you.
Bob Stowe.
No.
Okay. David Boaz.
Yes.
I'm gonna explain.
Okay, you don't have to.
Bob Murray. I'll say
You don't
yes.
have to.
Mary Patrick.
You have the
Oh.
right to vote.
Okay, 14-1.
She's still alive?
All right.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Bob.
A number that wasn't given out, what was the approximate attendance during the summer of those shows? No, she said how many tickets.
Oh.
I don't have that information with me.
Well, we should, because that's how you make an intelligent decision. It does matter, because if you have
No, it
100 people showing up and you're giving away 10 free tickets.
Nah.
We never have that.
You never have that if
The
you go
point
to
is-
I
shows.
had that in, I'm sorry, I'd be happy to bring it to you, but I don't
I'm
think
just saying
it's.
that it would be valuable information to determine if you're gonna give away somebody a free ticket, is it worthwhile?
When you go on to the next subjects, I'll look at my computer,
Okay,
see if I
no
can
problem.
get
Go ahead.
to it. The next subject,
David Bowie has a question.
oh,
Where are David?
All I can say about that, and I should have brought up in discussion, is that I went to a lot more of the summer shows,
Right.
and I found out I enjoyed more of them because I bought that ticket. So actually, I think your sales probably would have increased, or it might have been less if you didn't have that.
Right.
Yeah, it's an encouragement.
You're right, David.
there was some discussion at my meeting about changing dances from Saturday to Sunday. There was discussion, it was brought up, there was no further discussion. I am programmed to do Saturday nights unless you all have any different ideas that you want to change it.
At
But
one
I'm-
time, you wanted to do Friday night.
No, I never wanted to do Friday night, I would
Sunday.
never.
Friday night is
That's
the-
something in
Gotta
like
leave it
42
Saturday.
years here, I would never suggest doing anything on a Saturday, Friday night.
Well, make a motion then.
Well, there's no motion meeting, it was Saturday night, but you all had some rumblings, so I'm just readdressing that I'm planning to go with Saturday nights. Okay, so nothing's changing there, there's no votes. I want to skip ticket office staff for a minute.
Stu has his hand up.
Sorry.
Just a suggestion, if you want to increase the number of people coming to the shows, we should have a dish night.
That's an H green stamps.
3 dishes,
Okay.
get 1 plate, and if you
Well, I'll
come
tell you
back
what,
again, you
Stuart,
get
if I
another
cook,
and
they
another.
were-
Jane,
And in about 15 years, you have a full set of 16.
How about green stamps?
Okay.
Green stamps.
I'm skipping
How about a potluck?
I'm skipping to the budget and I am just reiterating. That's all I'm doing is reiterating that this committee voted for when remember, I have to prepare the budget before we have our budget meetings.
Yes.
You all approved the budget, okay, of which, and I'm not just talking theater for right now, was $314,550. You all approved that I budget at a 50% capacity, not because of seating, because of concerns, which would bring you to $305,000. So it would be like a $10,000 loss that would show up. Again, I'm just reiterating what you voted on, just for the record. I think it's a very fair number, though. It does, 50% capacity is 611 seats. Do I think we'll sell a lot more tickets to many shows? More than that, yes. Do I think we'll sell a lot less to many shows? Yes. So I'm just reiterating it for the record, yes.
If that should change according to CDC or whatever the governing matters are up there, and they say that you can have more, will you then increase it?
Because this is not based on the CDC. This is based on how many people are going to come back to the theater regardless of how many seats are available. I think you need to err from a budget standpoint, err on the cautious side this year and not anticipate any kind of profit, anticipate a very insignificant loss, hopefully, and just get people into the theater, back into doing things, make them feel comfortable, showing them our safety protocols, and making sure that our staff is warm and welcoming to everybody that comes back.
So you're staying with the 50%?
But 50% is strictly a budget number. It has nothing to do with the number of seats.
That's the budget.
It has nothing to do with how many seats. Meaning it has to do with how much I'm planning seat. It has nothing to do with CDC guidelines.
It's the budget.
Correct. So I'm just reiterating.
We're gonna lose money.
I also, when I presented you the program, I presented you the Duprees. Tony Testa is ill. He is selling his rights to the Duprees back to the estate.
Selling his wife?
His rights. He is selling his rights back to the estate of the children who own the name the Duprees, who he does not feel are going to do anything with it. I have not taken the Duprees out of the budget because I'm waiting to see what's coming around that I can purchase in that date. I'd like to find something, but I'm not going to find something just for the sake of finding it. So, exactly. So I'm right. Before we go to press, I am hoping that we can go to press. I'm going to reapproach this at your May meeting and talk to you about it. I see Kravis is coming out. I see Broward's coming out. I want us to come out. And even if we put something in the brochure that said, you know, we're erring on the side of caution, we don't know how many tickets, so forth and so on, I personally think that coming out with the brochure is a good thing and let people know that we're planning and that the M&O committee has approved these things and that we look forward to seeing them and we want to move forward. The brochure would not be a complete waste because we all know that by January, February, March, we're hoping life is totally normal. You know, hoping. I don't know. You don't know and I don't know. But I think that it's going to be a beautiful brochure. We've designed it. It's really exciting to me. Well, it's colorful and exciting. Sorry. Anyway, so the Duprees will be out, but something hopefully will be in its place.
Okay, hold on, Barbara.
I just want to say something. I think that whether it be in the paper, by Ruth or by her, Eva or you, that people, the residents here have to know that in season you're going to only sell 611.
No.
Oh no, the budget. So how many seats is that?
But we don't know. The only thing I can tell you is that we work great with Ruth. Ruth always finds us space, always
No, I
makes
know
it
that,
happen.
yeah.
But I don't want to print something that I don't know. I'm not a god that can answer that question.
So we don't know how many seats?
We don't know.
No, she said that's what she's waiting
We
on.
don't know. We just don't know. We are only using that number from a budget perspective because it's 50% capacity. It has nothing to do with, we don't know how many people. I think every month that I come to these meetings, we're gonna rediscuss it, and we're gonna readdress it, and we're gonna say, when do we feel comfortable that we can go to print? Listen, didn't something come out from the New York Times? I just got an alert. The CDC said today you don't have to wear masks outside.
Right.
So tomorrow they could change anything. So we don't know. It's gonna be something that I'm gonna continue to address, and I promise you that I talk to Ruth, and Michelle talks to Ruth on an hourly basis if we have to get something in your paper.
I have a particular question to do for theater. When we start with the new vendor selling tickets online,
Correct.
am I gonna, we gonna have to go to make?
No, you have your gateaccess.net.
I can
You're
do
gonna
that.
still go through Gate Access, it's just gonna bring you to a different portal. It may look a little different,
Okay.
but it's a very, very big software company, and I
Thank you.
think
But you know,
From
me, I
what-
go to everything online.
from what we've been told, when we've been playing around with it, from a user standpoint, it's a lot more friendly, where the other site locked you out after 8 minutes.
Yeah.
This one gives you 15 minutes, so I think people have spoken and they have listened.
Great, thank
So
you.
I think it will be a much more positive experience. Nothing to vote on, Eva had shared with you, which I had sent to her, the website for Century Village Pembroke Pines.
Yes.
Again, this is not something I'm pushing for or not pushing for. I'm just being informative that the marketing director who works under the entertainment department took on the responsibility of designing a website for Pembroke Pines. You all wanted to see it. It was sent to you. I told you that I would bring you the figures of, the final figures of what it cost. It's pretty hard to determine the final cost because there's so many, but the cost of the design with the designer was $7,500. And then there's all these other platforms that you have to pay for instance, WordPress, which is the software program to go in and edit it. Cloudways, where we're storing things. So there's a lot of expenses that go on top of it. I would probably venture to say that after the 75 initial cost, that you should safely plan $5,000 a month to maintain it.
Wow.
Okay, now, yes, exactly. It is a lot. It's not cheap, but
What are the benefits of it?
hang on, 3,600 of those, that $5,000 that I'm estimating, is for a contract fee with the designer, because we found in the first year that we have a lot of changes. Like, we got it up and running, but you know, they want this, they want that. So that might go away after the first year. Do you know what I'm saying? It's cheap to run it, meaning Cloudways is $13 a month.
Yeah, but Abby, you just said $3,600 a month.
$3,600 a year, I'm sorry.
Okay.
A big difference.
All right.
Abby, what is the benefit, I mean, I saw the website, so it's beautiful. What is the benefit of having something like that?
If you want a Clubhouse website, period, maybe you don't want it.
I don't think.
I don't think, I mean, I love
Okay,
it.
that's fine with me, less work
I
for
mean,
me.
it's beautiful, but I don't know.
Well, couldn't that also be used for Yuko? They can share it?
No.
Just
No,
Clubhouse.
If it's a two-way website, which probably you don't want,
No.
No.
I think this is an informational website. Might you go subscribe to a channel? I don't know, maybe.
We can put a link to your newspaper on our website.
Yeah,
But that's about it.
I don't.
yeah,
You
okay.
don't have to have it. I was just, you have to understand something. I'm an allocated employee. So if you find out that I did something for Pembroke Pines and I didn't offer our services to you, then I would be in default of whatever agreement there is, and I don't want to do that.
You're saying the designer wants $3,600 a year?
No,
Go ahead.
no. It was $7,500 to design it, and then we put him on a retainer of $3,600. We have $3,600 a year for the first year to spend with him in the event that we find things that we want to make changes to.
All right, I just want to put something on the table. You've got a lot of computer literate people in this village. Whatever you may or may not think of Blogger, it's absolutely free. It's extremely capable of doing all sorts of things. You just might want to have a look at it.
David, this is something that's really Eva's bailiwick, but as I explained to you earlier, I'm an allocated person, and I don't want to do one thing for another community and not offer you the services of the same thing.
No, but all three or all, and however many communities can use it. I mean, it's a very powerful website development system. And it's free, it's dead bang free.
Oh, yeah, right.
Barbara.
Just to get off what you're saying, I agree with you, David. Back to Abby, she's bringing to us, I'm correct, to let us know. I'm making a motion, we don't want it.
There's no motion.
I'm making a motion, we don't want a CBD.
You don't need a motion.
We don't need a motion.
You don't need a motion.
Oh, okay, then it's not gonna be brought up again.
She's just telling you that.
I'm just being
Okay,
informative.
so it's not gonna come up again.
Maureen.
Okay.
Maureen, Courtney.
And I mean, we got a kid we use who's very
That's fine.
capable. I guarantee you would put it together for you for a lot less money. I mean, there are a lot of options here.
Well, I have been.
Again, we're not doing it, so.
All right.
Maureen.
I have, the movies came to me on constant
Contact, yes.
I want to say constant contact. This is a good thing. Does this cost a lot of money to
No.
do that? Because
No, it
I
We
have
send
all
all
the
our-
movies on here for May, all in color, all like the brochure.
Yeah.
And
We
all I have
send-
to do is open my link and here it is on my phone.
We send every email blast out of Constant Contact. We do the same with the monthly happenings when we
Yeah,
have
it's
things like
perfect.
that.
More than enough.
And you can actually go and I don't know how to do it, but I know it exists. You can go and subscribe to it, and it will actually go in your calendar, in your phone calendar. And if you can't figure out how to do that, call me and I'll get Michelle to walk you through it, because I'm not that computer literate, I wish
This
I
is
was.
nice, it has pictures and, yeah, it's really good, you're right.
Okay,
The last subject is audience view and ticket staff personnel. For those of you that don't know, Rose is only here, is no longer here full-time.
Part-time.
She retired. And so we need a full-time box office ticket staff, ticket office manager, if you will. We had the same situation in Pembroke Pines, and it took us a little while to find the right person. The type of person that I am looking for my purposes are quite different than Eva's purposes. My purposes are selling, upselling. You all know what upselling is. You come to the box office, you buy a ticket to see a comedian. I expect that employee to sell you another comedian. It's all about sale, treating how the customer is treated. I want them treated as if they're a donor, as if they're the biggest donor, even though we don't take donations in the world. I want everyone treated like that. How to walk these residents through the new online portal. It has to be someone very computer literate and aggressive and knows how to sell and market. And
Customer oriented.
well, that's customer oriented. But no, JM is not the person. JM's doing a great job and he's learning the system, and he's going to be like number 2 and number 3 with Yolanda and whoever's on at night. But JM is not the person to be the lead on this. However, with that being said, with Rose being gone, we have not had a person in there, and it does take a lot of time to learn this program. This is not a simple program. And I would like to place the ad as quickly as possible and get someone in here certainly by the end of May. So that we can,
People want somebody different.
well, Eva has different goals of that employee. That employee does other things for Eva. Their main function is the box office, but they do other functions.
It's ticket office / staff office, so whatever it is that somebody needs, you have to have a base knowledge so you can answer all questions and assist with ticket sales.
So with your approval, I would like to place that ad shortly and get moving on finding somebody who can fit the bill.
Question.
Yes.
Okay, Rose left, she retired, but we're still paying her for part-time, correct, at night?
Yes.
How much will be the cost of a new person, full-time, who knows how to work a computer properly?
Nobody's going to know the system because this is a brand new system.
Well, they're gonna be
but
taught, they're
gonna be
able to learn.
computer literate.
Yeah.
We're looking to offer somewhere between $18 and $19 an hour.
That's all I want to know.
Yes. because we can't find people for $12 an hour, $13 an hour. So we would probably start them at 18 and after 90 days bring them to 19. Or if, like in Pembroke, we found the ideal person. He was asking whatever, we wound up settling at 20 because we knew he was the guy. So you get what you pay for, and you all know the current situation in this state where, nobody wants to work because they're getting unemployment. And so it's hard. So effective immediately, we're gonna place the ad, and Eve and I will work together and find you somebody great that you will be proud to work with. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Very nice.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to start off with the WPRF awning at Dover. I can assume that all of you know that WPRF has an awning over at Dover between B and C buildings. And inadvertently, I set off a firestorm, and I'm sure that Yuko got their fair share of calls and complaints. So I just wanted to explain what that was about. And the fact is that there were large gatherings of people that were not social distancing and or mask wearing. So what I did was I put one of those orange construction fences around the awning and thought that was the end of it. Well, then we found out that somebody had been cutting through the construction fencing, all right, and was still continuing to use the awning. So we were then zip tying it back together, and then the next day it had been cut again, and so this was going on for a couple of weeks when I finally said, you know what? Let's just take away the tables and the benches. And that takes away the desire to continue to cut through the construction fencing. Well, so now people thought that I was going to be dismantling the awning. This was the first step, and that we were then going to dismantle the awning. It had nothing to do with that. It was just trying to stop people from using it improperly as we go through COVID. So I called everybody back that called, and we've put that rumor to rest. But I just wanted to explain what happened because it was quite the firestorm.
It was. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, yes, Barbara.
I have a question. That property that belongs to WPRF, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
In back of Dover. Can anybody use that property?
Yes.
Okay, so in other words, if I, who lives in Chatham, or they live in Greenbrier, they can go over there and use that awning. Is that correct? And nobody can chase them, am I right?
But not now, not during COVID.
No, I'm talking about when it's open.
In general.
Pre-COVID, yes.
That's what I want to know.
Yes.
So who can use it now?
Nobody.
Nobody, because they just didn't want to follow the rules, so now everybody lost the privilege because we were just having such large gatherings with no social distancing and mask wearing. In between Dover's B and C building. And it overlooks the water. It's a beautiful lookout. Yes, okay, so I think Ruth, you were next, and then Olga.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
The property that it's on.
Although, one second, Ruth is just asking a question.
Call that the gazebo.
Yes. It doesn't look like a gazebo, it's more an awning, but yes, it's known as both. Yeah, okay, Olga.
I'm curious, the property that it's on, does it belong to Dover or does it belong to WPRF?
Let her answer.
It's under our jurisdiction, WPRF.
So you own the property.
Belongs to WPRF. You're saying under your jurisdiction?
Yes, we have to take care of it because,
I'm clarifying it.
yes,
They own it.
They own it.
yes.
You own it, WPRF owns the property.
Well, Benenson does, but yes, we manage it for Benenson.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Thank you.
If it's owned by WPRF, anyone in the village can use it.
Correct.
She said it, yeah.
Yeah.
Try it. And the pool. Try it.
Moving on.
Anything.
Okay, so next we're going to move on to the health fair. You know, I would say, I don't know that I'd say it was a success. We had people who took advantage of the situation. We had people who, a lot of, instead of coming in cars, they walked over, I think people from Hastings. We had an issue where we had somebody who didn't want to wait online, so they just drove against traffic, almost caused an accident, and then, you know, when the person running the fair tried to calm him down and, you know, quiet him, and He was very threatening in what he was saying. We had to call the police. And then where he had a table and he had put the lunches, and you needed to make a reservation so that they could reserve a lunch for you and then come get it. There were people showing up without making a reservation, and there were those that just came and helped themselves. While he was busy and had his back turned to the table, they were just coming up and taking 2 and 3 and 4 lunches at a time. So then he ran out of lunches for those people who had registered, but he came back the next day with $5 Publix gift cards to hand out to everybody so they didn't feel, that they'd been shorted.
No more outfits.
So I think to do this again, we would have to do it at the main clubhouse.
I don't think you should do it at all.
So, well, yeah, for those people that partake though, they enjoy it. So anyway, I just wanted to let you know how that played and that he did make sure that everybody got taken care of with the $5 gift card that didn't get their lunch. People just need to follow the rules, and that seems to be our biggest problem. That's the hard part. All it takes is a phone call.
Would this be run by Kano?
No, it was not. This was Pam Avalos and Billy Goldfarb that
All right.
put this together.
I'm not sure where it should be. I know there were some issues. I would point out that that corner is beginning to look like a downgrade mall in Long Island City. It's beginning to look like an industrial park.
Long Island City is very...
I think it is so out of place, and it's getting worse and worse with the signs. Endless proliferation of signs and huge vehicles, and just something's got to be done about it. It just doesn't belong here, in my humble opinion. All right.
So while we put it over at Hastings, the hope is that as we move toward normal, that we would go back to having it in the clubhouse where we were having it before, very successful. So, party, correct. Yeah.
I think you should have it on a barge in the middle of the river.
On a sailboat.
All right.
All right, so, second page, yes. Yes. I don't think I've ever had a 2-page agenda, but that's just,
On the other side.
yes. All right, so, we,
You should have sandwiches when you have this extended.
I guess I should.
Yeah.
I won't forget that the next time. So, okay, so Gym Source, we had a maintenance contract with Gym Source. The cost of that was $3,900. And we heard from 2 different people that suddenly Gym Source decided they were no longer going to be in the service business. And they let go of all of their techs. And so we got word of that, and the tech that had been coming to service us and had done that very well, got a job with Fitness Smith and let us know he was over there because he'd like to come back and he would still like to serve our equipment. So basically, we are in the process of getting some prices. We'll reach out to Fitness Smith, we will reach out to Muscle and Wrench, and I will come back to the committee and then decide, you'll let me know if you want to decide that we will pick up where we left off, and Asia is reaching out to Gym Source to get a refund on the unused portion of the maintenance agreement. All right? Okay. And then, well, people are feeling very empowered after the shots. So where they're feeling like Wonder Woman and Superman, and to borrow a phrase from the administrator down in Boca, they are all looking to lick the doorknobs to prove that they're omnipotent. I'm getting a lot of pushback and fighting, and we have residents that are our year-round residents, and they have not seen their families, but now that the vaccine is out there, people are willing to get on planes and come down, and I would like to open the guest pool to guests. It would only be the guest pool. It would still be limited seating, and mask wearing, unless Laura tells us something different. I jumped on to look at my emails to see if Laura would say that since the CDC has said something about not having to wear masks outdoors, that she might lift that. I'm not sure. We have to check on that. Only the guest pool.
Wow.
Only the guest pool.
Go ahead, John.
I make a motion that happens.
I second it.
And we've got Fausto. So we have Fausto.
Just a comment. there's a motion here and there's silence. I don't know, I'm sure many of you follow this plague. I certainly do. There are issues of variant modes. You want to talk about bringing family and kids in close proximity on our facility. I would get some heavy-duty medical consult before you jump into this. It's not clear that any of us, I certainly don't feel qualified. This is a medical decision, in my opinion. What do your sources? What does Laura have to say about this?
That if you'll agree to it, the committee will approve it, then we can move forward.
Right.
Wow.
And
All
this is
right.
what I'll say about this. We're still going to do limited seating. The guest pool is a very large pool deck. I've got 14 different tables that are all spread out more than 6 feet. And we'll still do limited seating. And they're going to have to get an ID card. a guest pass.
Unvaccinated children. I would think about it 5 times.
Okay, Fausto?
How do you stop someone that has a guest pass from using any of the other pools?
We're going to change the verbiage. I'm going to ask ABDI to add on there, good at guest pool only, and security will know that they chase everybody.
Maybe change the color.
Your guards go around the pool once or twice a day.
Yeah.
How is that going, you're just going to make things worse?
I don't think so. I think that we can get everybody over to the guest pool, and we count on our residents to call us, so whenever a resident calls, we're running over there. And if they can't make it, I'm going. So we had PBSO at our pool areas 3 times in 2 weeks, and it was about residents bringing their family, and then they didn't want to leave.
This is a good problem. And how
Just
did
answer the
that
question.
end? What is PBS, how did that end with PBSO?
Do you really want to know?
No. Yeah, I'm curious.
You know, so at the guest pool, they were at the guest pool, and there was nobody there. And here we are kicking these people off of the guest pool that was pretty much empty, and they thought we were ridiculous. They really were not supporting us.
Barbara,
I think if you open the guest pool only the guests, it will be very beneficial to a lot of people who don't travel, who live here, who have family coming. Not all of them have children. Some have adult children that have been vaccinated, and they can't even go to the pool with their mother or grandmother.
So
And they're over 20.
Right. So on here also, so it says guest pool and then also picnic island, so that if we reached max capacity with guests, we could still at least send them somewhere outdoors where they could, you know, go and enjoy the sun. So I would open both in conjunction to guests.
John.
None of the other pools.
call a vote.
Okay, do you mind if I change some of the wording?
What are you going to feel free?
Tell us what it is.
Here's
Wait.
Here's what I put down.
Mo?
Before we go to
I
that,
think.
okay, Maureen.
Will you have like a sign in, or will you have, like I asked you last month, when you were gonna open up aerobics class at the pool, so will you have like guests sign in their guests, people sign in their guests, and you don't have so many people allowed in the guest pool area. So
Right.
say there's already full capacity, and I come with my granddaughter, because she's visiting me, I can't get in there for the rest of the day, because people are in there. So how are you gonna?
Well,
work
it's,
that
I mean,
out?
people come and go. It doesn't mean that, you know, the other thing is that we don't ask everyone to sign in to go to all the pools. There's only a certain number of chairs and lounge chairs, and once those are all occupied by one person per, then we're full. And if it becomes an issue, then I count on a resident to give us a call so we can come out there and deal with the issue. But we do have cameras over at the guest pool.
Thank you.
We'll have to keep a closer eye.
All right, got a motion, we got a second? Did we get a second?
I'm sorry, Richard, did you have, I see a finger up.
Oh, Richard.
You have something?
Sorry?
Mark wanted to be right.
You said that you depend on residents to call, that there won't be an attendant at the guest pool. Like at the gym, John keeps track of the number constantly. Will there be any person permanently, so to speak, at the guest pool to watch a
I-
WPRF
Right.
employee?
I will put security there, and I want us out there every hour. And I can do that because I've got 3 that I rotate. So one's walking the parking lots, checking Picnic Island and all of the outdoor facilities, in addition to the pools. Then we have somebody indoors. So I would put them out there every hour. I'm sorry, we have Monica.
I just wanted to read what I revised it as, if that's okay with John. Right, which is to open the guest pool for guests with limitations directed by WPRF and Picnic Island.
And what?
And Picnic Island.
Can't- I can't.
And Picnic Island.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Monica
good.
had a hand.
And Monica had,
That was just my question, Picnic Island, if that was
Yeah, that's
seriously
in there.
included with this.
yes.
It's in the motion. That's good.
Well, we're not talking about, I'm not approving any kind of parties or something like that. But if they've already come and they're being turned away, they could go over to Picnic Island and sit maybe for an hour and then try back again to see if now we have, that there's some seats that have become available.
I'm concerned you're opening a can of worms. We're gonna have a lot of problems because we keep hearing about the problems we're having with security. And now we're considering opening up the guest pool and Picnic Island to guests. I think you're gonna have a hard time with that.
I don't know, but like I've always said, we can try it, and if it doesn't work, we can withdraw it. But, again, you've got residents who've literally been shut-ins, they've seen no family, families coming down, and they want to come to the pools. So I'm willing to give it a try. Yes, it's more work for us, but I would like to give it a try. Let these people visit with their families and come and enjoy the sunshine and the sailboats on the water. Fausto?
But my question is, once a person gets a guest pass, will they have free reign in the clubhouse?
No, it's for the guest pool only.
So if they have to go to the bathroom, they can't use the clubhouse?
There is bathrooms right there off the guest pool.
Okay.
So no, they're not allowed to come into the clubhouse, they're not allowed to use any of the other facilities. Good at guest pool only will have to be added, otherwise that would be crazy.
Yeah.
And the passes are gonna be checked.
Anybody else have anything they want to add or ask?
We're getting there, John.
Okay, I'm reading it again because John asked me to take out Picnic Island. To open the guest pool for guests with limitations directed by WPRF.
You took out Picnic Island.
Yes, I
He-
did.
he- At his request.
The guest pass.
Okay.
The guest pass is open, right? So I guess passes to that.
That goes without saying.
You have to bring a guest into the clubhouse to get a guest pass, so he can't
Well,
use
that's,
it.
You people need to listen.
Listen to it.
No, really.
I think that happens now.
They repeat themselves. You need to listen. I listen.
That happens now.
That's what I'm
When
saying.
it's a pass, you have to bring them in here, they don't.
That's what I said.
Jesus. No,
He said that. He just
Oh,
said that.
okay.
Shall I call the
Come on,
vote?
just.
Yes, call the vote.
Otherwise, I'm gonna start karaoke here. You're not gonna like it. All right, Barbara.
Yes.
Cornish. Ruth.
Come back to me, please.
Okay. John.
Yes.
Mahale. Richard.
Yes.
Joyce.
Yes.
Maureen.
Yes.
Patricia.
Abstain.
Olga.
Abstain.
David Israel.
No.
Ed Grossman.
Yes.
Dominic Carnaglia.
No.
Stuart Richard.
Yes.
Fausto Fabro.
No.
David Boaz.
No.
Oh, you messed up my I'm gonna say yes. Mary Patrick, oh. Okay, we have one,
Forgot
two,
that.
You have to come back.
John.
You may have to come back to Ruth.
Ruth.
okay, Ruth.
No.
Hmm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
8 yeses.
No, didn't pass.
8 yeses. It passes.
Oh, really?
I will report back to the committee next month and let you know how it's going to go. I'm not sure when it's going to start because I've got to find out how quickly ABEI can just go in and add the verbiage, guest pool only, good at guest pool only.
Because of some of the concerns that Fausto raised and access, maybe you might consider a separate color.
I think that's a good idea.
Think about it. All right?
How about doing how about instead of this way, doing this way?
Discussion, Q&A. Ho, calm down. One at a time.
I didn't hear
Dr.
what-
H.
I did not hear the count that Bob said. How many voted for and against?
8, 5, 2.
All right.
Yeah, I didn't hear you.
We, do the bylaws say a majority of those voting or a majority of votes not counting abstentions?
Simple majority.
Motion passes.
Otherwise, you have 8 to 8, which
We've
is
never had a
not a
problem. We've always
majority.
voted this way.
That's what I'm asking. What do the bylaws say?
Nobody
Only
knows.
15 here.
We've always had a simple majority, always.
A simple majority of the 16 that are
We have 15.
eligible to
There's
vote?
15 here.
8 is not a majority of
There's
16.
15 people.
But an
15.
abstention is not, I don't know, is that?
Richard,
8 to 7, Richard.
there's
Oh, I thought you said
there's
5 and
15
3.
people. There's only 15 people.
Okay, so was 8, 5, and 3?
Yeah, 3, 5, and 2.
8,
8,
5,
5,
and
and
2.
2, okay. I said corrected again.
It's okay. There were some other questions? I saw some hands. I saw some hands all over the place. Mo,
Just a suggestion, I don't know if your system could do it, but instead of a pass being this way, the guest pass maybe could be made vertical this way.
I don't know. That would be an
If you could,
ABDI question.
Yeah,
A different color would be good.
because,
I'm
you know,
picking a different color stripe because that way we'll pick it out immediately that this was given during COVID and
of course.
well, they
would be
have,
confiscated once all was said and done.
yeah.
But don't forget they have expiration dates on them.
Yeah, that was my next question.
All right, and then I just have one other thing that I didn't remember to put on the agenda, but last month I had asked, I will not be here on the date that,
Grievously missed.
you're gonna have it without me? You're gonna break my record of 15 years and never missing an agenda?
Eva,
So,
I've had a discussion with
Tony,
Tony, and she agreed to let you
Right.
have her day, switch days with her.
okay, because I was gonna suggest, I know that you want a man, you go, but we could certainly let her have her meeting and just do ours at 10 o'clock in the morning the same day. There's
She
that
she
option.
agreed to switch.
Yeah,
The
okay.
18th, right?
It would be May 18th at 1 o'clock.
Okay, we're ready to, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I make a motion to adjourn?
No.
No?
John, there's more.
Okay, hold on. There were a few hands up for Q&A. Go ahead, John.
18th at 1
Eva,
o'clock.
Eva, I have a question. Now, you're probably going to get upset with me, but that's all right. I can handle it.
I try not to get upset.
But
No
again, in this month's paper, you wrote about security, how they're being abused, how people are being mean to them. And last month I heard it, and then the month before I heard it at an operations meeting. Now, not saying anything or striking about anything, but I've been a site supervisor, an operations supervisor, and a trainer. Not only that, a chief master at arms of the naval base of the man of war. And if any of my guards were ever mean or disrespectful to a resident or a customer, they were gone that day. Monica can vouch for that more than once, and I did it all the time.
Right.
Okay? Now, I can understand it's a two-way street with your security guards, but if you're having all this problem with security and the residents all the time, then it has to be some part of the security people that aren't being customer service orientated. And if they're not customer service orientated, they need to be fired or sent to another site. And I know what you're going to say.
What am I going to say?
There's not enough people to hire, and that's crap, okay? Because there's always people looking for those jobs. That's all I'm going to say about security. And
Okay, so would I say that, yes, I've got young people who don't even know who they are, And they don't stay long enough for us to help them become the type of employee we want. And I always say, we are not a penitentiary, we are a lifestyle. And we try to teach them how to approach people and to be friendly and say, hi, how are you? Instead of just walking up to them and saying, can I see your ID?
But you have security guards out there, and I haven't come and bitched about it because I don't want to get involved in it because it'll end up being a he said, she said thing. But you have supervisors, you have long-time security guards who at night don't even wear their mask. And because they say they're behind plexiglass, so they don't need to wear it. And I hear them say that to customers, residents. I've seen them be nasty. I've seen supervisors and others be rude to residents. And the residents say something back to them, they're in trouble, but not the guard. You know, and it's like, I get upset about stuff like that because I know the way the system's supposed to work. I know what customer service is. And if a person isn't customer service oriented, they should be gone. I don't care if they've been here 20 years, 10 years. The first time they're mean to a resident, they should be reassigned. That's my own personal opinion. And, you know, so it can't be every month security's mean. I mean, every month, residents mean to security. Residents mean to security. I understand there's even if a resident is mean to security, security is supposed to be jubilant and say, we'll take care of it just to get them away or something, but not to stand and argue.
Well, part of their job is to de-escalate and contain. And I don't have a lot of guards that know how to do that.
I agree with that, but and I'm not blowing my horn or anything, but you can even ask mine. I've had people come to work for me at 8 o'clock and be gone at 10 o'clock.
Right.
I've had people come to work for me. I've trained people at 8 o'clock and by noon they're unemployed someplace.
John, where are all these conflicts occurring? I don't notice any conflicts with security.
Kathy has her hands up a long time.
She's the one that writes about it all the time.
Yes.
And complains about it all the time. That's all I'm saying.
All
It's
right,
like,
Olga.
Most of you probably know that I feel that having these guards come around asking for your ID is repulsive. I had requested that locks put on the gates where your ID opens up the gate and you go in.
Doesn't work.
Now, wait a second.
Doesn't work.
Wait a second. Nothing is, it's not going to work the way you say it simply because anybody could go in there who doesn't belong there, see the guard, walk out before the guard comes in, and the same thing is going to happen whether you have the guards or not. But you would save a lot of money by putting the locks in, which other places who do not abuse the residents by treating them like they're in a concentration camp. It's an abusive thing to do. And one of these days, I'm going to predict somebody is going to get so angry, they're going to do something that everybody else is going to regret.
Well, what I would say is, we've seen it happen at our swipe system at the back door, where you push the button, and then there's the camera, and you hold it up, all right? But so while you're going through that, maybe 2, 3, 4 other people line up behind you. They don't wait for you to go through and let the door close and then hold up their card and go through the same process. They all file in together. And so the same thing's going to happen. What I prefer to see, but the committee would have to give approval because it would increase the budget, is to have monitors back at all the pools. That's what I'd like to see. And yes, then we wouldn't have to send security guards, all right? And we could have monitors at all the pools.
You don't need monitors at the pools because you're
In
always...
season, I think you absolutely do. Maybe not in the summer months, but in season
You're
you
always
do.
going to have people in those pools that don't belong there. And in most cases, it is not a big deal. It is only a big deal when it creates a problem. And when it does, somebody with a phone is going to call security. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. But treating people like they're in a concentration camp is abhorrent. And if you don't realize that, there's something radically wrong, really.
Patricia?
Okay, Aldo, while I hear what you're saying, I'm sorry I disagree, because I have seen people at the pool who don't even belong in the village. I think that I'm happy that they go around asking if they belong or not. There have been people, even in my private pool, that we had to escort out, correct? Because they don't belong there, and what happens is, I'm not gonna say the group is, they brought more friends in, so finally, we had to go up and say, listen, yeah, but my friend lives in Beverly City. Yeah, but this is a private pool. A lot of people come from all over. I've seen people drive, these pools drive, park their car and come to the pool that don't even live in the area.
Yeah.
I don't know where they're coming from. So you have to have, you have to have, even like the movie theater. Wait, hear me out, I heard you. In the movie theater, if you just let everybody just go in and say, we have to, take the word for it.
You're in Wellington, you don't have the guards coming around.
Yes, but Wellington, we hired someone. No, wait a minute. I go
You're
to
a
Canterbury.
private pool.
I go to Canterbury. My daughter lives there, and there are people that have not. They don't belong, and they give. I'm not defending all the guards, but they also give a very hard time to the guards. They're human beings too. Some guards are not friendly. We know that. They need to take a lesson on how to treat people. But a lot of people in this village are quite rude. And I don't think I
Really?
I agree.
Just a point of interest on a pool that is less traveled by. There's a little pool, WPRF pool over by Southampton.
Yeah.
And it was always, years back, typical. People jump the wall, swim in the pool, use the clubhouse, take showers, blah, blah, blah. It got so bad that Mark Levy spent a couple of $1,000s to put a fence up between the wall and this new fence. You may remember that, you may not. We populated that no man's land with those little sticky bushes. Before, and cameras, before we finally got a handle on it. I hear what Olga's saying, and I think there is something of a conflict between some of our people and these very young guards who don't have a lot of training. I can't believe they can't be trained to approach residents properly and respectfully. But if you open the door and have no control at all, you'll have Southampton all over again. You'll have no control at all because these pools are beautiful. These facilities are marvelous and almost irresistible. So I'd be very careful what you ask for. You just might get it. Be overrun. But the guards, I agree, need regular training on how to deal with people. Senior citizens in particular.
Yes, well, I will say that when I write those articles, it's because I'm looking at actual footage of what goes on. And that's what I base that on. It's not just hearsay. And I agree, it works both ways. And in a perfect world, I would love to give training classes on how I want them to deal with people. But that's not where we are right now, and we are trying to hold things together while we get through COVID because we have never had such a poor staff of guards. I had a couple of guards that just decided it wasn't for them, and they're there with one of our iPads. They put it down and walked off the job. They didn't care if that was going to get stolen, how was it going to get. They didn't even walk it in and say, you know what, this isn't for me, I'm leaving. They just put the equipment down and they walked off. I can't begin to tell you the different scenarios we have right now. And we're just getting kids, and it doesn't mean that the kids couldn't be great. They don't stick around long enough to find out.
Barbara.
I understand all these problems you're talking about, your viewpoint, Patricia's, Olga's. But you gotta remember something. We have a contract with a security company. Now, if you're not happy with the people they're giving you, or you're not happy with the job they're doing, then something should be done with the contract. That's what contracts are for. I'm not saying you.
Barbara, every security company is having problems here. Every
Well,
security
let me tell
company
you
is having
something.
problems.
I've
And
gone to
it's,
2 places, and they have guards. The guards are very nice. They're lovely.
yeah, I've been
What
to
company
places
are
and
they
they're
using?
like middle-aged,
Yes.
you know, I had a meeting.
Critical.
I had a meeting with Platinum, and I said, I'm gonna go to the committee and I'm gonna ask for more money on the budget line because I wanna get more mature guards with maybe some security experience, and they're gonna stick with it.
Well, when is the contract up?
Okay,
That has to be brought up at a contract
He
negotiation.
said to me, don't waste your money. He says, the middle-aged people aren't applying.
Well, maybe
He
we
said,
gotta
oh,
find
we're
out
getting
the
our
company."
kids, and specifically females, which we need both.
Yeah.
So, you know, I've asked around. This is not just a Platinum problem. Whether you like it or not. Okay, Ed.
Ed,
I'm sorry.
I hear this. Wellington never had a guard. Now we have a guard. I think it may be ending soon. But in my humble opinion, there is no perfect solution. There is no perfect resident that wouldn't get excited sometimes. There's no perfect guard, even if they're older, that wouldn't get into debates. We're human beings, and if you feel that a permanent guard at every pool, you're talking a fair amount of money. But I don't think that would even solve it. The 2 people get into an argument. If it's the guards and it's because they're young, I don't think you just change a contract. You talk to Platinum, and I'm sure you do all this.
Yes, I'm not unhappy with Platinum. I'm not unhappy with
And
them.
it's not only the dogs, it's the people. The people here.
I'm saying,
There's a lot of people have entitlement. They don't want to know about.
I mean,
there's a lot of people, if you're on the board or an officer in an association, and they come down here, they feel you're part of the superintendent. You know, if they won't pick up a piece of paper, they won't take something off the door. I think you have to approach it, which I think you're doing, Eva. You can't make people, okay? We just opened up the pools. Monica said there's a problem all over the other place. I think we just have to, you have the cameras, right?
yeah. We're working on it. We're getting that NVR installed so that
All I could
see
say
it on
is,
their screens.
I believe if there's a shortage in labor, there's a shortage in labor. I mean, you can't produce people if there's no people. Now, the security guard at Wellington was a resident. Just a resident.
He did a very good job.
And he's been doing a very, very good job.
$12 an hour.
So I think we could go overboard. And we have to just react to the time. And if you know who the guard is, or if you have identification who the resident is, you have certain powers to restrict them. But I think what you all have to do, if Mrs. Wolf or whatever gets into an argument, it's not just enough to suspend her. You have to call her in and talk to her. Because some people just have a short fuse.
Well, and people that I wouldn't normally see come up on my radar are just pushed by this whole situation with COVID. And I'm hearing from people, and I see some behavior that I'm really quite stunned by for these people that I know to be quiet, well-behaved individuals. So,
Exactly worse.
all right, now that we've gone extensively over human nature, Dr. H, did you have your hand up?
Yes. Abby mentioned earlier paying $19 and then $20 for a computer expert because he was knowledgeable. May I ask?
Website design?
Website design.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, for the office.
right, to hire a supervisor for this ticket/staff.
Okay, fine.
May I ask what the starting hourly salary is for our security?
It was, when we said 18 to 19, what I like to do is I start someone and then in 90 days, if they're really working out, I like to give them another $1. And we let them know that there's a, another $1 in 90
You're talking
days.
about
So it could go as high as 20. Security?
Security guards.
Security.
Security.
I believe they're making in the $11 and $12 range. They're not making 10 because that was another thing we
A
discussed.
little higher than that.
All right, well, in my humble opinion, it would have to be a lot higher to get the people that we might want.
But Platinum told me, save your money.
I know,
He said that middle-aged people with experience are not the ones that are applying.
I know, I realize that. Well, they won't apply at 11 and 12. It's not your fault, it's money.
No, it's not, but that doesn't help me
I
do
know.
what I need to do at the pool areas.
I believe that the youngsters coming in on the Yugo side, the gate guards, etc., coming in at about 15. Because I do see the bills from time to time.
That's not what mine are getting paid.
Really?
You probably see the bills, but I guarantee they're not getting.
No, I haven't seen your bills. Well, maybe I have. David, do you remember?
It's closer to $12.50 to $13 an hour.
Okay, fair enough.
The bill's gonna be the rate that we're being charged by the.
Bill rate, yeah.
That's what
Gotcha.
That's not what they're getting.
Oh, yeah, of course.
There are some of them that do make quite a bit more than that, but they have the time in.
Yeah, right. I know Daniel does. Yeah. Okay, we got any more discussion? Fausto?
I want to get away from the security guards and the abuse that we take in the office from our wonderful residents of Century Village. I want to change this up. I've discussed this with you. New residents are coming in, whether they're unit owners or renters. And the ID office is not removing the cars that are on that specific piece of property. We have to go through this list. Everybody that's coming in, they've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars on there. And it takes up a lot of time and a lot of effort. And when some of our people can't hear, can't see, don't know what they're talking about, and never owned a Toyota, oh yeah, well, was my 1932 Toyota? No. It takes up a lot of time. Please ask them to, when they put in a new unit owner or a new resident, to remove whatever vehicles they have on.
Okay, I did speak with them about that, and they tell me that they do. But then they also tell me that they see new information going in that's being put in, and they're not the ones putting it in. So if you've got somebody over on the Yuko side, which I think is only Gloria,
There's only one person.
and she does not put in new owner information.
She does not put new owner information. The only thing that she does when they come in for a barcode, without a registration and without a Century Village ID, she will not update. But we go through this, we hear this day in and day out. There's 4 cars, 5 cars, do you own this car? And it just takes up a lot of time, and people get frustrated.
It should be very simple, David. When you get somebody coming in as a new owner or a renter, when they remove the owner information, the name, they should also be looking at the vehicle and taking that out.
So who's they?
And we should be deactivating the barcode. As far as I know, it should be deactivated.
That's right.
So,
No, that should be done at the ID office with the ID.
correct.
And then if there's one, it shouldn't be, the norm should be that it might be something that you missed, not the norm that you got every person that comes in. And with all the renters and with all the new unit owners that are coming in, it takes up a lot of time and a lot of energy.
But if you are registering the vehicles to put the barcodes on, you would take it out automatically anyway.
I understand that, but there's 6, we had one person, there's 8 cars on there. It's a place that gets rented. And none of those cars,
None of them were removed.
none of them are removed. So now you gotta go through, do you own this car? Do you own this car? It takes up a lot of time and a lot of effort.
Yeah, Gloria's single point on that.
Yeah.
She is. I know she's there by herself at that.
She does a good job.
I appreciate it. We
Yes.
discussed this before.
We did, and I did talk to them, so I'm gonna have to,
If you want, I would be more than happy for the next 2 weeks. We'll track every single person that comes in and see how many new people are coming in that has not been done. Be more than happy to do that.
okay,
Wow.
thank you.
Anything else under Q&A? Bob?
Yeah, since nobody mentioned the island.
The what?
The island. Duck Island.
Picnic Island.
Yeah.
I removed the ducks. It's no longer Duck Island, it's Picnic Island.
Okay.
I would like to make a motion to open
To guests.
to guests.
We just talked about that.
No.
Didn't we vote on
It's
that?
separate.
No, it was not included, although I asked for that, so if we filled the guest pool to capacity, limited capacity, that we would then have someplace else